looking at old money versus new money. Cuban's going to be hanging out some cigars, but at the end of the day, I got to bet on green.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with us today on this Wind Up Wednesday edition, academic and athletic consultant for the CKA Save Project, Suzette Tom. Suzette, thank you for being a regular. How are you this morning?
It is greetings and grateful to be here with the most intelligent, classy, and elite odd coach out there in the DMV. How you doing, Coach?
I'm living the dream, and I'm happy to be here with you too. Segment one, NBA Finals preview. We're going to break it down in a coach's way, and we hope you guys get something out of it. In segment two, we're going to talk about these coaches and some of the changes made in the NBA. And in segment three, it's all W all the time. But first, Suzette, it's Boston from the East. It's Dallas in the West. Let's give them the finals preview. I first want to talk about Boston's road. Boston went 12-2 through the East bracket. Yeah, there's a bunch of injuries. I don't care. Win. Okay. So they have not had the hardest road, and Kristoff didn't even play, and they went 12-2. On Dallas's end, they played people. They eliminated the Clippers, the Thunder, and the Timberwolves. So they are battle tested, and Luka and Kyrie did big time player things. In terms of Boston's primary players, we're going to talk all series about Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. On Dallas's end, again, it's Luka and Kyrie. We also, on the secondary side, you got Jrue Holiday, and Porzingis is back. Dallas, defensive stopper Derrick Jones Jr. You have Gafford, you have Lively. So this is the time to make these predictions. Suzette, take it in any way you want. How are you feeling about the NBA Finals? The Boston Celtics versus the Dallas Mavericks. The floor is yours.
All right, Coach, you say clutch, I say cardiac. Those Boston Celtics, they're all about that time and score. You mentioned the 5 minutes. When push comes to shove, they're efficient with their ball movement, no wasted passes, and they find a way to find that hot hand or two. They're very unselfish in their plays, and Jason, don't call me Drake Tatum, has finally found his swag. He's doing what he needs to do to bring everybody on board, and Jaylen, the new beard, has gracefully accepted his role as Robin to Jason's Batman. And Mazzulla, he's on a roll. He's got a well-oiled machine that's going to roll through Dallas, I believe. He's got his backup pips doing what they need to do. A little concerned about some of the bench members. Lively with his head injuries and the neck strain. Is he going to last? Is he the ever-ready buddy and can do his thing coming off the bench? So they got a good thing going.
So you got Boston winning the series. Do you have an amount of games?
I think it's going to go down to a wire. They're evenly matched on paper. I love a 7. I love a 7 in Boston. Dallas, they've been slicing and dicing too. So I'm not wholeheartedly throwing my hands up and saying, hand them the cup. But they've done enough to do what they needed to do. I'm concerned about some reserves. Do they have enough in their tank? And to be honest with you, the X factor that people aren't talking about, you could talk about the unicorn and the return of Porzingis, and he's going to do his thing. He's going to probably double doubles. I'm not so sure of. I think he's guaranteed at least a 12 and a 9. But the X factor truly is in that front office. Boston's got a lot to lose. You're looking at old money versus new money. Cuban's going to be hanging out some cigars. But at the end of the day, I got to bet on green.
Okay. So I'm looking at it from this end. Luka is playing phenomenally right now, and Kyrie has motivation. And motivation, fans, is simply a desire to act. He felt slighted and wronged by Boston. They didn't do him very well. He may be a co-conspirator to the crime, but that's going to move him to action. I have thought that Dallas's secondary players have played primary in a lot of situations. And when secondary becomes primary, shot makers versus shot takers
Mhm.
changes the whole flow. I have seen that as a college coach when on the scouting report, you see somebody that shouldn't be doing something that ends up doing something, and the assistants are looking around like, that was your scout.
Mhm.
Also, I'm not the biggest fan of Boston's coach. I think Jason Kidd has coached very well, and I think Missoula has coached very poorly.
Mhm.
You've lost games at home to people you have no business losing to. That means you didn't get them ready. I'm going to say that as a coach.
Mhm.
So Boston's clearly the better team. I'm not saying Boston is not the better team. But as Golden State's 73-9 team taught you, the best team doesn't always win. What say you to that critique, Coach?
I think you nailed it on the head. One of the things I like about Luca is that he always looks like he's playing horse at the rec center. you know, I mean, he's loose. He's playing with house money. Kyrie, he got the big payback. He got something coming for all those owners and sponsors that slighted him. So they going to have something in their arsenal. They're not laying down quietly. Um, Everybody's playing with house money. We want to have a great series. They match up beautifully. X's and O's strategy. Mizzoulo, he's got a little bit of a Napoleon complex, I think, and so Jason Kidd, yeah, he's been down this road before, and I think those are one of the aspects when you have uh, ex players who coach. They know a little bit more than just the AI and the strategics up in the boardroom. So we're bound to have a old school George Foreman, Ali type knockdown, drag out for sure.
Yeah, but don't let it be George Foreman, Michael Moore. One thing I do want to ask you before we close out this segment, Boston's Boston, and they're going for what, 18, 19 championships? That's a lot of pressure. They have been in charge the entire season. It's a lot of pressure. They're supposed to win. It's Boston. It's championship or bust. That's a lot of pressure. Dallas is the fifth seed. They got house money, and they got Luca. They got Kyrie. They got an owner on Shark Tank. They, man, if I'm making a prediction, Boston should win in six because they're the better basketball team. But I'm rooting for Dallas. What say you?
I say, do unicorns fly?
If you believe in them, yes.
Look, you got to believe. You got to believe. I think it's going to be a great match. If no one's going to run away with it, I think there'll be some clutch plays, some cardiac moments, some times down the stretch where you'll be looking like, what the heck did they call? We're going to go to the videotape a number of times on some of these calls. But again, you got to go with old school grind, Boston, blue collar, pack your lunchbox. We're going to work.
All right. So, fans, in segment two, a lot of NBA coaching moves. We're going to react to them. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches podcast.
Why should student athletes use the CKA SAVE Project academic and athletic consulting services? Over the past 15 to 20 years, colleges, universities, professional sports teams, business organizations, and others have increased their use of consulting services to improve their decision-making processes and results. Over the same time, the athletic and academic landscape has changed for high school and college student athletes as the NCAA has raised initial academic eligibility requirements for student athletes while decreasing the number of transfer restrictions. Former college student athletes have noted that they were academic and athletically unprepared for the rigors of college. Let the CKA SAVE Project's close to 30 years of academic and athletic experience help guide student athletes to increase success as we work to help student athletes achieve the goal of obtaining a college degree. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. In segment 2, we got a lot of coaching moves. So I want to get Suzette's thoughts on some of the teams that have solidified their coaching staffs or are trying to do so. So Suzette, the Clippers have signed Ty Lue to a new deal through the 28-29 season that will make him one of the highest paid coaches at $14 million a year. Get the bag, but Ty Lue, $14 million a year. Lue had 1 year left on his deal. He's gone 184 and 134, which is almost 58% winning percentage in his 4 years at the Clippers. And overall, with his stop at the Clippers and the Cavs, he's 312 and 217, which is about 59% winning percentages. Ty Lue is worth it because somebody's paying it. But what are your thoughts on Ty Lue signing this type of deal?
Well, Coach, I believe that Ty Lue got $14 million at the going price to be able to not be the ringleader of the LeBron, Bronny, Barnum, and Bailey circus that's coming to town next year. So, but just kidding. I mean, Ty Lue, he's got the street cred. He's well respected in many circles. He knows his stuff. He's been able to balance the egos of PG and James Harden, teaching them to share the wealth and play nice with each other in the sandbox. I'm curious about the deal between his agent, Andy Miller, who's part of the Rich Paul connection. So I wonder if there were some back deals, some handshakes, winks, nods, but, I'm happy for Ty. Like you said, get that money, grab that bag, and make it a show. It's coming to LA at a theater near you.
All right. So now the Lakers. This is all speculation. This is all TV stuff. We'll join in because why not? JJ Redick is an ESPN broadcaster, and word on the street is that he may be the next head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. Media reports say many media reports would be surprised if JJ is not the coach. He is looking for staff members. And the NBA doesn't like a lot of noise during the finals. So this may be announced after the finals. Any thoughts on JJ being a leading candidate with no prior coaching experience, similar to Steve Kerr when he got the GM gig or whatever? What are you thinking about that with Suzette?
Steve Kerr was a great experiment that went well. The Lakers, I believe in 2016, went down this road when they hired Luke Walton. My question to the panel is, who's the puppet and who's the puppeteer here? I love his coaching staff. I believe they're going to bring in Sam Cassell. Borrego has some street cred, very knowledgeable. They're master recruiters of talent, managers of men, great minds in the game, which leads me back to my original question, who's the puppet, who's the puppeteer? JJ Redick, is he going to sub out Bronny and sub in the dad? Who's zooming who here, Riri? I say there's a particular reason why they want to ruffle any feathers by making this announcement after the finals. So, JJ, meet Janet Jackson. It's Rhythm Nation time.
Okay. So our local team, the Washington Wizards, have hired Brian Keefe as their head coach, and they stuck with him. He had the interim position. He was in his first season as the assistant when he was moved up. So at the time of the switch, Suzette, they were 7-36. They went 8-31 the rest of the way. Keefe is a long-standing assistant, Oklahoma City, took them to the finals. The Wizards have not been very good. What are you thinking about the Wizards staying with Brian Keefe?
The Wizards staying with Brian Keefe is like a Jekyll and Hyde, right? I think the Wizards have an identity problem like Northwest DC, Chinatown going through right now. They keep throwing good money after bad. They bring in a mixed match sock bag of talent only to trade them in 2 to 3 years, right? Many times the kids and the players that we come in will end up going to other teams, a la Jeff Green, Casey Payne,
Porzingis.
Thomas Bryant, Ish, the Georgetown great Otto Porter. So I say we light a match, blow it up, start all over again, and try our hand in the draft. The Wizards, Ted Leonsis is slowly drifting away and doing his thing. We try to get out of town like the Baltimore Colts and go down to Virginia. That didn't work. So we're going to play the hand that we're dealt and hopefully be able to catch a train out there. No Uber, just train.
Okay. All right. So finally, Sacramento Kings. They have finally agreed to a contract extension with Coach Mike Brown, who is a two-time Coach of the Year. But the two-time Coach of the Year got a raise to $8.5 million, as opposed to what Ty Lue got, which is $14 million. The Kings pretty much had the same season this year that they did last year, but unlike last year when they were a third or a fourth seed, they ended up being a 9 seed. So the West is only going to get better. How are you thinking about the Kings and underselling Mike Brown? But Mike, he's not hungry, so don't cry for him.
Exactly. I think Mike Brown's on life support. He's kind of just doing the carousel, holding on, just holding on. Why? Let go and let God. No, the Kings they're going to be interesting. I think the shakeup in some of the movement and the TV rights may bring a little bit of fanfare and some limelight, but I see the Kings just holding in a holding pattern, kind of just simmering, waiting for that next hot shot, JJ Redick, to come a-calling.
Okay. All right. So, fans, when we get back in segment 3, all W, we're going to talk about the week in review in the WNBA. And stop fouling, Caitlin. We'll be right back on the iCoaches Podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Folarin Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams, just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the iCoaches Podcast in segment 3. Let's get going with our WNBA power rankings. Number 1, Connecticut. Number 2, New York. Number 3, Minnesota. Number 4, Atlanta. Number 5, Las Vegas. They've been struggling a little bit. Nothing to be scared about, but a couple of L's. 6, Seattle. 7, Dallas. 8, Chicago. 9, Phoenix. 10, Los Angeles. 11, Indiana. And 12, Washington. Connecticut is off to a hot start. The Mystics are not. Suzette, week in review. What are you thinking about the Power 5? Anybody catch your eye?
Hey, UConn's big 3 are doing what they need to do. Alyssa Thomas has relinquished the reins. Brianna Jones is stepping up. You've got 3 big scorers, evenly pitched. And Alyssa is kind of the mastermind behind it. They're flowing. They're having fun. They're just balling out. The Mystics, fire the coach. Get him out of here. Oops. But wait, we can't do that. His dad's the GM, right? So, newsflash, I think Della Don is reading the tea leaves. She's waiting to make some moves. She really hasn't officially retired, to my knowledge, correct? So I think she's hanging on, waiting to see. Hopefully they get a big draft pick, but you can toss it into the ocean.
All right. So, story of the week. There's two stories we want to talk about this week. First story is that's a foul. Last week, I complimented Angel Reese on taking hard fouls and playing on. This week, I want to compliment Caitlin Clark on doing the same, taking hard fouls and moving on. And I also want to applaud her coach, Christy Sides, for sticking up for her, because that's what we're supposed to do. My question, Suzette, as somebody who has seen the behind the scenes of Coach Adams' team, where are her teammates? So whenever somebody took a hard foul on one of my best players, whether it was Jamal Wise when I was at Paint Branch, who was a Maryland Player of the Year, or Fowler and Campbell, whose career you knew about at Mason, we always had somebody to remind players who wanted to take hard fouls that we can do the same too. So we practice not reacting, but we also practice, okay, 22 wants to be rough. There's going to come a point in the game where we're going to say we can be rough. Y'all want to play rough? To do the Scarface. Suzette, what are your thoughts on the Caitlin Clark foul? Because she is getting hacked up. Okay, yes, she is. What are your thoughts?
Caitlin's taken some bumps and bruises. I think she's gotten her welcome to the NBA package and her swag bag. Concerning her teammates not picking her up, that goes back to the head coach, right? I mean, yes, you're going to stick up for our players. Yes, we always have their backs. However, there's some underlying undercurrent, and whenever you have a group of 15 women in the same room, getting them to agree on the same thing can definitely be challenging throughout the season. So you got to pick up your teammate. Behind closed doors, you have your words, you do what you do, but in front of those TV screens, in front of that limelight, you always got their back. You extend that hand, give her the side eye, you keep it moving.
Okay. All right. The second story of the week is why don't you just stay a little bit longer? There's a new professional women's basketball league called Unrivaled, and it's co-founded by WNBA stars Breanna Stewart and Napheesa Collier, and it's going to start in January 2025. Unrivaled will be player-owned with equity opportunity for participating players, and the league said it will offer the highest average salary in women's professional sports league history, and that's always a good thing. Many times women have had to go overseas during the off season of WNBA to make money. And now this league was formed with the goal of giving top players an option to stay and play domestically, particularly because WNBA has implemented stronger prioritization rules, which we've talked about in past episodes. The group has also got a lot of high money investors. Soccer legends Alex Morgan, Megan Rapinoe, former NBA players Carmelo Anthony, Steve Nash, former golfer Michelle Wee West, Ashton Kutcher, UConn's coach Gino Auriemma. Gino's got to eat this up, and don't be surprised if he leaves college coaching soon and just kind of hang out with that. The league will feature 30 women's basketball players across 6 teams playing 3-on-3, so that's less impact. So the players are like that. Competition will be about a 10-week window, and they're all playing in Miami. So that's also a good thing. In addition, Meadowlark Media and former ESPN president John Skipper, as well as a former Turner president, Dave Levy, will be a part of the media rights deal with this. Athletes Unlimited also launched something in 2022, but I don't know if that's going to sustain with this coming in. Suzette, what are you thinking about this? And why did they have it when you played?
Because nobody would come. Coach, the more the merrier. Everybody's going to eat. It allows, I think, the whole Brittany Griner unfortunate situation. And prior to her, Diana Taurasi spoke about players having to go overseas, leave their families, pick up new languages and cultures. it keeps everybody home, keeps everybody under one umbrella. Concerns that I do have about the league, as you mentioned, is the sustainability. Is this money train and the funding of these high profile actors and celebrities, entertainers, going to be able to maintain an equal playing field and access to everybody? 30 women, 6 teams, 5 on a team. That doesn't leave a whole lot of tryout opportunities for the incoming college players, etc. Am I going to skip my final season and then go play? Which brings me to the interest. Now they're competing with college ball, high school ball, the NBA is in full swing. So unless they're going to be playing in prime time, visibility, high markets, and not in Omaha, Nebraska, I say go for it.
Yeah, I do like the fact that they're going to be based out of Miami. Cool. All right. So now you got South Beach, South Florida. And now you don't have travel costs because everybody's going to be at the same spot. Ice Cube has the big 3. So I am sure they're looking at the big 3 model in terms of if they're going to be at a smaller venue that they can afford, then now that's just steady revenue. And one of the things it reminds me of is old Georgia Championship Wrestling or NWA Wrestling when they were in the Techwood Drive studio. So every week, all the stars of the NWA would come to that location and they would syndicate that across the country. That's kind of how I'm thinking of this. So I think it's going to be a good thing, and I'm looking forward to it. So as we close, the Commissioner Cup begins this week. I'm one of the few people in the world that actually likes the Commissioner's Cup. So the WNBA is introducing a new basketball, Suzette, with the Commissioner's Cup. And the Commissioner's Cup will go from June 1st to June 13th. They think using a ball specifically for the Commissioner Cup's game, similar to the NBA, using a special court will help garner a lot of attention. It was launched in 2021. The Seattle Storm won in 2021. The Aces won in 2022. The New York Liberty won in 2023. All games are going to be played in that 2-week period, and the winning team gets a $500,000 prize pool for the championship game. So again, good luck to everybody involved. I'm excited for the Commissioner's Cup. I don't know if you are, but on behalf of Suzette Tom, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast. And we will see you on the sidelines. Until next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.